Hello, friends. I hope you can't hear my coffee maker in the background. If you haven't noticed, I have so far completely failed at Inktober. I am still drawing. I just am not drawing every day. I am using this video to kind of catch up with all those drawings. And by all, I mean 3. So this video is going to include Pattern, Dragon, and Ash, all of which are circus themed. I did not include Overgrown in this one because that is going to be a little chibi girl, but it is a big day today in Central Arkansas. Why is that? It's Pride Fest. This is actually, I think, the first time we have had Pride Fest on a Saturday. I did not wind up being able to volunteer for Pride Fest this year, so that is a little bit sad. Instead, I'm just going to celebrate it by making this video. Now, the title of the video probably has something about Black Lives Matter in it, so what does that have to do with Pride? Because Black Lives Matter is anti-Pride. At least they're anti-Pride for Central Arkansas. I understand that I am a white person talking about this, but please hear me out on this. It is a problem if Black Lives Matter comes up on stage at Pride Fest again and says Pride is racist. This happened the first year that I volunteered at Pride. It's for kind of a stupid reason. One of the main sponsors for Central Arkansas Pride is usually a local club called Sway. They might have rebranded recently. I'm not entirely sure. But Black Lives Matter is anti-Club Sway because a drag queen in box braids. That's it. Club Sway sometimes employs a drag performer who is white and at one point posted to social media a picture of her in a wig of box braids. So, of course, somebody made a comment saying that it was cultural appropriation. Black Lives Matter kind of backed up the person saying that it was cultural appropriation, and the drag queen responded with, "Drag is an absurdist art form." And though they acknowledged that box braids are a hairstyle typically worn by Black women, they felt that it was okay for them to wear a wig with box braids in such an art piece. They did not think that it was cultural appropriation, but they acknowledged that it was a hairstyle that was typically worn by Black women and very rarely worn by white women, but did not think that it was necessary for her to not wear the wig. So, of course, Black Lives Matter backs up saying that it's racist. In my humble white girl opinion, I feel like there is a blurry line between racism and cultural appropriation. In my personal opinion, it did not cross into racism. As drag is an absurdist art form meant to push the envelope of what is considered okay in society, I'm okay with it in that context. Would I myself wear a box braid wig? Ho, 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 no. Do I think that possibly seeing more white women wearing such a hairstyle will normalize it in society's mind and possibly lead to Black girls not being suspended from school for wearing box braids? Because that's a thing that happens. It might, because unfortunately that's how our society works. Guys, our society is real messed up in that regard. But then it comes back to Club Sway because this particular drag queen performs at that particular club on occasion. And it's never stated that she specifically wore the wig in the club, and I don't believe it was publicly stated that the club defended her wearing the wig. But Black Lives Matter decided that because she performs at this particular club, then that club is racist. Black Lives Matter has not only stated one of the very few clubs in Central Arkansas that are welcoming and open of the GRSM community. Black Lives Matter not only says that attending that club is an affront to your Blackness, but says that going to Pride Fest is an affront to Blackness. You think that white lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders are marginalized? You have no idea how tough it is on the Black community. The Black community not only holds the same stigmas, they hold these stigmas stronger. And a lot of the Black community will unfortunately emphasize that being gay is a white person thing, and to be GRSM, LGBTQA+ in the Black community is an affront to your Blackness. But in my opinion, getting up on stage, screaming, it is not something to be proud of to be racist, is alienating. It is putting a separation between being black and being gay. And that separation already exists. And a lot of this has to do with the study Growing Up Gay in Black America, an exploration of the coming out process of queer African American youth by DeMarque Clark. The Black church reports being a lot more homophobic than typical white churches, and church being much more of a community staple for the Black community than the white community. So going up on stage and screaming that it's not something to be proud of to be racist, I don't think it's worth it. We have the Black church already being homophobic. We have the Black community centered around the church. Homophobia is ingrained in Black culture. I know from people who I have spoken to, their family, when they came out, regarded being gay was something that white people did. And just to get some quotes, because I don't want you to go off just my memory, some quotes from Saeed Jones, who wrote a book called How We Fight for Our Lives. And Saeed Jones is a queer Black person who grew up in Texas. So he does have a specific Black, Southern, gay perspective on this. Being Black can get you killed. Being gay can get you killed. Being a Black gay boy is a death wish. And he also goes on to say how he tried to come out to his mother, but looking at her face, she looked so pained and hurt that he stopped mid-sentence and redirected the conversation to spare her. And just hearing that is hard. Just trying to empathize is hard. So imagine how experiencing it and writing it down and possibly even muting the intensity of it. It's such a real feeling that people have every day, especially in Black America. They're not only marginalized for being Black, they're marginalized for being gay, and they're not even allowed to fight for their right to be gay, to be who they are, because they're Black. So quoting DeMarque Clark, as a qualitative researcher who both bracketed but shares a perspective similar to the participants in the study, I'm struck by the omnipresent stories of tragedy and of love in the intersection of sexual and racial identity in the Black community. Shame seems to puncture the gay youth's experiences of themselves growing up in the Black community and the Black church. The church has been and continues to be a place where African Americans find comfort, joy, acceptance, love, grace, and community. It has not, however, been a place where queer people feel these positive emotions. In fact, it is quite the contrary. He goes on to state that community is strengthened when it can hear and incorporate all perspectives rather than cut ties, disengage, and find new homes. I challenge African American queer people to stay connected to the community and find ways to build bridges so that the community nurtures all of its participants. If you notice, quite contrary to what Black Lives Matter seems to be doing in this case. And it seems to me that if Black Lives Matter was so offended by Sway being a donor to Pride, then the best solution would be also to be a donor to Pride. Set up your booth. Rainbow paint gay Black Lives Matter. Ingrain yourself in this community. Let everybody know that if you are Black, no matter what your sexual orientation is, you are part of Black Lives Matter. That being gay is not an affront to your Blackness. To me, the solution is what DeMarque Clark suggests: to ingrain yourself in that community and make sure everybody knows if you find this instance of cultural appropriation racist, you can come to us and you are still welcome. And even use it to welcome more people into this community, into a community of all marginalized groups, where they can seek support and refuge and comfort and love and joy. But once again, I am white. I don't want to white knight. I hope somebody found that punny. And I hope if you feel marginalized in any way, this topic specifically touching on gender, sexual orientation, and race, and where those personal identities may merge, I really hope that you find what is best for you, because the community where you are might not be able to tell you that, but you will be able to find a community that does love and accept you. And I hope that you do someday find that support, and I hope that you find that inner peace. I will include a link to the Growing Up Gay in Black America PDF and a Goodreads link for How We Fight for Our Lives. Please let me know of any questions, comments, or concerns down below. And like always, don't forget to like and subscribe.